boys and girls, back in the studio here to talk about things you need to know as a first-time home buyer. So a lot of you don't know, not only am I a licensed insurance broker across the United States, I was also a licensed mortgage lender. So I understand construction of home, financing home, and protecting home. So let's get into some things you might not be aware of. Interest rate and amortization schedule. So we all know what the interest rate is when you're getting a home loan. Right now, I think they're like 6.5%, maybe high fives if you get a good loan. The amortization table is what you're actually going to be paying for the home should you run out that entire loan. Right now, it's usually double what the actual cost of the home is. Now, a lot of people look at that and they don't care. They only care about what their monthly payment is. But here's the thing to know about refinancing. Most people are only putting down 3% when they buy a home, as opposed to the 20% to avoid PMI, mortgage insurance. We're not going to get into what mortgage insurance is here, but it is an additional cost if you don't put 20% down. But if you're buying a home at the height of the market right now and the market dips, even if you want to refi, you're going to have to close that delta, meaning what they're saying the actual home is worth versus what you owe, which is going to be very similar to the 20% you didn't want to come up with when you bought the home. So don't just get a high interest rate believing that you can refi and that all it is just calling the lender and getting the rate lowered. It's not true. The other thing you want to understand is inspections. If you only trust the inspector to look at the home for what's going to go wrong with it, I would think again, there's a lot of good inspectors that find a lot of things. There's a lot of bad inspectors that don't find most things or find things that are wrong that aren't actually wrong. Why is that important? Most people tend to buy versus rent because they want a fixed cost. But here's what's not going to be fixed. HVAC problems, plumbing problems, things that the inspector won't find. The insurability of the home. Just because it passes inspection doesn't mean it passes insurability. What's the age of the roof? Is there handrails in certain places? These things matter because the two things that are going to go up each year is going to be homeowners insurance and real estate tax. So it isn't a fixed cost. You need to understand that buying a home will not be fixed. I understand it's better than rent because rent goes up each year, but so does real estate tax and homeowners insurance. These are just pitfalls you want to understand because right now, renting versus owning, I believe, if you look at the metrics, is overall more attractive. But these are things you need to know as a first-time home buyer, that none of it is a fixed cost. To understand more about this, get on e3insure.com.